Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be showing you some of the aspects of my Hunt for Red October game. So let's start at the entry point here. This is the main.py and it's going to ask if we're the white or the black computer. So I have a little context. I have a white computer and I have a black computer. And if we choose the white computer, as you can see, our IP address is set to the white IP and the enemy IP is set to the black, and vice versa if you were to choose black or else. So as you can see, we instantiate the Red October game and we pass in the IP and the enemy IP. We then run the setup function and then we run this .run method. So let's get into the Red October game. Pretty big file, but this is the constructor. So you can see something pretty important that happens right here. We're going to instantiate a radio operator. So this is the radio operator. We actually have a window open right here. And the radio operator is it's set on, so it's a child of a thread, of the thread class in the threading module. And that's important because that way it can be running, it could be on another thread and it can be listening while we're playing the game. It'll be listening for the other player's moves. Down here I have, and right now I have it set to it's gonna print. So if show radio, then we're gonna print some stuff. So as you can see, this is some of this is the prints from, or this is, I still have this pulled up from a game that me and my brother played earlier. And as you can see, these were the moves that I made. Since my brother was on this black computer, I was on the white computer. So I made a move. So I made a move to move in X direction, positive 20 pixels, and I think pixels. So my move was moving from 530, 550 to 550, 550. And so it sends that move in a JSON. And this is on a thread, so it's listening. But I'll show you some of that gameplay later on in the video. Now, back to the Red October game. So we've run the constructor. There's also this setup function which sets up this game for play, and we're supposed to run it before run. Some important things that it does is it'll instantiate this north button with this north.png, and so you can see there's a bunch of artwork I have that that corresponds with some sprites. So for example, this is the north.png sprite. So let's go down to and so like another thing it does is it'll instantiate large islands if this count is up. But let's go down to here. This is the on update. Since Red October game is inherited from arcade.window, we can override some things, and so we're overriding the on update method, and this does a number of different things. For example, handle victory, and handled no lives, It'll also use a listening socket, or ascending socket rather. So you can see up here in the setup, this is the setup function, or yeah, the setup function that we started. We started connecting this, connected the sending socket, so that later on in the update phase we can actually use it to send some data. There's also this on draw, which will draw the sprites, also draw kind of a divider between the control panel and the map. There's this on key release, which helps for moving the red trail and mark. There's also this override, which is the on mouse press, and this handles clicking different things. For example, so the way it works is we'll select something, so like if we can select south, and then later on if we select mark, and we had south selected, then it'll do some stuff. So and namely really trigger the movement of the sub south is a big thing that it'll do, but it'll do some other stuff. So there's this tick reactor, which increments the reactor tick. So in the game there's this reactor that heats up, and so you have to move in order to release that reactor without taking damage. So this reactor tick method is called, it's called in arcade. There's a pretty neat functionality, a.schedule, that lets us, call this, set up a scheduler that calls this function. So that's pretty neat. So yeah, there's some other methods and such on close. Let's see. Also, there is this Submarine Sprite, which is inherited from the Sprite arcade class, the arcade.sprite class, which holds some stuff like, for example, selected move. There's also this toggle sprite, which it's inherited from the sprite class, and it's pretty much just a normal sprite. It's pretty much a sprite, but it also has a kind of an arbitrary toggle that we can toggle on and off. So for example, where do we up in nuclear, in this reactor nuclear 1, it's a toggle sprite because it can either be active or inactive. So that is some of the code, and I wanted to show you some gameplay actually. So as I mentioned before, my brother was playing on the black computer and I was playing on the white computer. So I'll just go ahead and play these. It might not be perfectly synced up, but that should be fine. So as you can see, we have, I am over here, I'm moving, and you can see when I move, so my movements trigger his red trail to move, and his movements trail my red trail, or trigger my red trail to move. And so the game works by, you're forced to move, because if you don't, if you're not moving, then you'll end up taking reactor damage. And so you're constantly moving, and you're trying to find a partner or your enemy while they're moving. And so, as you can see, we're getting pretty close. The way it works is the red tracks, where the large red dot is where our torpedo is aimed. And so, as you can see, I lined it up. I was able to line it up by this trail where it wasn't intersecting with any islands. And I got fairly lucky, and I said, okay, we'll launch a torpedo right here, which you can see I do there, or I do right here actually. So you have to move in order to arm the torpedo, and I got pretty lucky and was able to win the game there.